everyone. So today I'm going to do a video that I haven't done before, but I've been into reading a lot lately, and so I'm going to do my What I Read in September, which is a little late considering it's almost November basically. So there'll probably be like once a month there'll be a book kind of video. There is a hair in my mouth. Here's an overview of the books I read in September. One of the books I read was Silverling's Playbook by Matthew Quick. I had seen the movie when it came out like a year and a half ago maybe, and I didn't really love it. I just saw it because Jennifer Lawrence was in it and I like her, but I wasn't that thrilled about it. The book was better. It wasn't amazing, but I liked it better than the movie. I'd probably give the book like 3 out of 5 stars. Basically, the main character, Pat, he has some mental health issues. He's trying to reconnect with his wife, and he meets Tiffany, who's played by Jennifer Lawrence, and they go on this crazy adventure. That's basically the main plot of it. What I didn't like about it, however, was his character was kind of misogynistic at times about how he could run faster because he was a man and like that kind of stuff. That kind of bothered me. There's also a lot of football in here, and I'm not a huge football fan, I'm not a football fan whatsoever. So that was kind of annoying, but overall I would recommend this to people. The next book I read was By Nightfall by Michael Cunningham, and if any of you follow me on Tumblr or just know anything about me at all, Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf is like my Bible, and my favorite book of all time is The Hours by Michael Cunningham, and he basically took Mrs. Dalloway and he kind of redid it. Anyway, it's phenomenal, but that's the author who wrote this, and I was like, well, I should probably read something else by Michael Cunningham since his book The Hours is like my favorite thing ever. So I've had this for over a year and I hadn't read it until recently. It's okay. It's contemporary adult fiction. The writing is excellent, but I couldn't really get into the plot line. I'm keeping this book, I give it like a 2.5 out of 5. I'm keeping this book because it wasn't horrible, and I'm wondering if I'm going to get more out of it in the future, like if I read it again. Because I get what it's basically about a middle-aged couple, and the main character is the husband in the relationship, and he's trying to figure out his sexual orientation. He works in an art gallery, so there's a lot of like art stuff, which is kind of weird. Like, I learned more about the art gallery process than I kind of ever wanted to know, and that did get slow at times, but it was pretty good. I wouldn't highly recommend it, but looking back on it, the story is really good. It could have just been told better. The next book I read is a book that I've had since, I don't even know when, like 2008 maybe, and this is the first book in the Cirque du Freak series, A Living Nightmare, and it was really good. And I've heard people say that, like on Goodreads and stuff, that if you kind of like the first one, you should keep reading them because they get better. So I did kind of like it. I mean, it's obviously written for a younger audience. The writing isn't, it's very like fast-paced, and it isn't too like deep and meaningful, I guess, but it is very entertaining. I did pick up the second one. I would give this like a 3 out of 5. It was really good. I wish I'd gotten into this series like when I was like 12. It would have been great, but better late than never. The next book I read was Cinder, the first book in Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. I have heard so many things about this, and I had not read it yet, and I'm so glad I did. I would give this probably a 5 out of 5, or like a 4.5 out of 5, and, there's a million people who've talked about Cinder, so I'm not gonna really get into the story, but it basically takes place in this, like, futuristic world, and she's a cyborg, and it kind of retells the story of Cinderella a little bit, but I really liked it. I have to admit, the first 50 pages I was kind of because it's hard to relate to Cinder at first because she's a cyborg, and that made it kind of difficult, but in the end I really, really liked it. So I would highly recommend this. It was excellent. And then I went ahead and picked up the second one, Scarlet, which is a retelling of Little Red Riding Hood, and Cinder's in there, like it all kind of comes together. This was very good also. I think I like Cinder better, but if Cinder was a 5 out of 5, this would be a 4 out of 5. So I'm going to see if I know anyone who has Cress, the third book, because I'm the weird kind of OCD person where I want to wait to buy Cress until it's in paperback like these are, because I hate having like one paperback and then the rest are hardback. It just bothers me. And plus the paperback is so nice. It's so soft. Oh my god. Now the last book I read, I could go on and on about it, so I'm going to try and make it short. This is Brain on Fire, My Month of Madness by Susanna Cahalan. And I'm a psych major, and so this was fascinating to me. However, my mom, who's a college English teacher, read it, and she loved it too. So I think it's more universal than just like people who are really into psychology. But it's basically, it's a memoir, it's a true story, an autobiography basically. She was a journalist for the New York Times, and when she was 24, she started experiencing like hallucinations and depression and just weird symptoms, and really quickly she ended up in the hospital for a very long time with like an unknown illness. Like they couldn't figure out what it was, they couldn't diagnose it. And so the first half of this book is talking about like her descent into madness, and then she gets diagnosed, and then it's like after that is like the second half, her getting better. And it's very well written. I really, really liked it. I loved it so much. I've been trying to get, like, loaning it out to people, like, hey, have you read this? Have you read this? It was so incredible and somewhat inspiring, just because I've had issues with mental illness before, and you can relate to her even if you haven't. And it's so, her story is so incredible that you forget. I forgot at some points that it was a memoir until the end when she's talking about, oh, I published, my first article about this in the New York Times like 8 months after she got out of the hospital or something. She wrote like a short article about it that then became into this huge book. Then I looked it up, and she said, I published my first article on this and this date, and I looked that up, and it's there. It's on the internet. All of the coworkers that she was talking about, they're there at the New York Times website. It's just, it was kind of mind-blowing at the end of this to then again reinforce the fact that, oh, she is a real person, and she's very young. Don't quote me on this, but I believe all this stuff happened in 2009, and this came out in 2012, so it was pretty recent. It's just amazing. You can look up interviews with her and everything. But this book is becoming very popular at colleges for the common read kind of thing. So anyway, that's that. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I won't be doing too many book videos, but I do just kind of want to share my thoughts about some books I've been reading because I've been really, really into it lately. And I hope you guys are all doing well, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!